Welcome back to the channel. Racer X here, and today I am back with my good buddies at Streetside Classics Tampa. They actually just got a car in that I'm really excited to show you guys. If you are a big Mopar guy, I think you're really going to like today's video. This car, it's awesome, and it's one of the best versions of this car that has been done to date, and we're not even going to see it after the 2023 model year. So today should be a lot of fun. If you're brand new to my channel, please do me a big gigantic favor. Hit subscribe right over here in the corner, and off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Now, when I come to this dealership, I really do like to walk around just a little bit to see what good stuff they have. You can see they've got a showroom full of really cool stuff. So you can step outside and actually see everything that they have. The showroom is huge. Well, we'll step outside and take a look at the car I wanted to show you. So here's what you can expect when you come in a showroom of Streetside Classics. They've got several different locations. Obviously, as I mentioned, this is Tampa. Beautiful Cobra right here. But a lot of different cars in here, no matter what your favorite one might be. Whether you're an old Ford guy, you like the old Mopars. I mean, they've got everything in here. A massive showroom, as you can see. I mean, just Corvettes all over the place. They got a whole wall of trucks over here. I mean, it's like I said, it's like Disneyland if you're a car guy. So anyway, let's head outside and take a look. So right behind me, this is the car that I was so excited to show you. That is the 2012 Chrysler 300 SRT8. So they only made like 2,200 of these back in 2012. But what's really cool about this one is it is equipped with the 6.4 liter V8 Hemi, the bigger Hemi, right? Not the 5.7. And we know that they produced these actually to go overseas later than 2014. But in 2014, they stopped making this for the US market. So there really aren't very many cars out there like this one. And of course, this one has been powered by Hennessey, which makes this one extra special. It has the HPE 650 package on it. So let's take a closer look. Now, at a glance, this is actually a pretty cool sedan all by itself. I mean, 2012 was actually the very first year they put the bigger 6.4 liter Hemi in these particular cars. Like I said, they only had the 2012s through the 2014s. And then, of course, this one has all sorts of extra stuff on it from Hennessey over in Houston. But this particular car, bone stock, 175 miles an hour in this big sedan, and it will go 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. That is pretty impressive for one of these straight out of the factory. And there's no mistaking that this one has a lot of special stuff going on. As you can see, these are in fact SRT wheels. Here is that badge from the guys over there at Hennessey. And as you walk around a little bit, it is a little bit more understated, right? I mean, it doesn't look like a Hellcat. We know they didn't make a Hellcat in the Chrysler 300. That's a whole nother story. But you can see it's a pretty understated, very sleek looking sedan. You do get the Hennessey badge right back here. Also, once again, there is the HPE 650 badge there, but there's not a whole lot else going on the outside of this car to tell you that this monster really does make good power and is very special. Let's take a quick look at the inside of the car. So yes, this car is very similar to the Dodge Charger. Now, there are some Hennessey cues in this car. You can see the big, beautiful leather appointed seats with some Alcantara there in the middle. You've got a Hennessey headrest there. You've also got Hennessey floor mats in here. You've got some carbon fiber in the center section there, and you've got a special Hennessey HPE 650 badge right there. Now, I do like the gauges in the Chrysler 300, leather wrap steering wheel, all that good stuff as you would expect. Once again, this is in fact an SRT, but a very roomy, very comfortable car, just like in the Dodge Charger. I almost think the gauges on this car are even a little bit nicer. You can see SRT there on the gauges, and a nice seating section back here for your passengers as well. And for a big body car like this, it has a lot of power. Now, here is what really makes this car special. So not only do you get that big 6.4 liter Hemi V8, but check this out. There is a Magnuson TVS 2300 supercharger sitting right on top. What a nice looking engine bay this has. And of course, you do get the Hennessey badges in here as well. And with all of the Hennessey packages, they actually put serial numbers on these. So I wanted to make sure I showed you this. You can see the beautiful intake here. I mean, really well done. You got these fuel rail covers right here, 6.4 liter, powered by Hennessey. But check this out. What serial number do we have here? number one. So this is Hennessey HPE 650 number one. Like I said, this was the 2012 was the first year they had these 6.4 liters, but man, look at this joker. And so 650 horsepower, that is of course to the crank, but I did see the dyno sheet on this particular car as well, and it is pretty stout. It's over 580 horsepower to the tire. It's got some other goodies in here from a performance perspective. You get long tube headers, and the list kind of goes on with this particular package, but man, what a really nicely done engine bay here. Now, a couple other quick items of note, because when I looked at the dyno sheet for this and I saw that it made over 580 horsepower to the tire, I was pretty impressed by that. I didn't think the 2300 TVS Maggie would make that kind of power. They did a couple other small things to the car as well. They put a little bit smaller pulley on it, like 7-8 pounds of boost, right kind of at the edge where you would feel comfortable taking one of these 6.4s, at least in my mind. They also did like ported cylinder heads. It's got high flow cats on it, a little bit of a modification to the fuel injection system, and also the fuel pumps in it. I mean, there's lots of little bitty things done to make sure this car runs exactly the way it's supposed to, and it is a really nicely put together car. Lots of little custom touches on this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it drives. Here is the seating position in the 2012 SRT8 Chrysler 300 with the Hennessey package on it. And I tell you what, it is a really nice, comfortable place to sit. I do like the carbon fiber accents you get on this particular car. You know, you got that typical clock there in the middle that you get from Chrysler. Once again, a little more carbon fiber trim. There's that badge, which I showed you a little while ago. And of course, your Hennessey mats, all the good stuff. These seats are so comfortable in this car. A really nice big back seat in this. I'm got the sunroof popped open right here, guys, so I'm enjoying that as well. But a really nice place to sit and do business in this car. So let's take it down the road. Now, for you Chrysler 300 guys out there, I mean, you well know that this has been a staple of the Mopar lineup for quite some time. As a matter of fact, all the way back in 2005, they gave us both the Charger and the Chrysler 300 sedan. So you had the Gen 1 basically from 2005 to 2010, and then from 2011 on, you had the second generation Chrysler 300. And so that first generation, you got not only the V6, the Pentastar, but you also got the 6.1 liter V8 that put out 425 horsepower. That was in the SRT8 version, kind of like this. But then once you get up to the second generation, starting in 2012, actually from 2012 to 2014, you got the bigger 6.4 liter engine that put out 470 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. And it made for a really special car. And then once you got to 2015, they did the refresh on the Charger, all that kind of stuff. And they quit putting the big V8s in the Chrysler 300 for the US market. And if you wanted a sedan with the bigger 6.4 liter engine in it, you had to go over to the Charger. And that was really kind of a bummer. And then in 2023, of course, Dodge announced, guess what? For the very last year, for the last calls, all that kind of stuff, they were going to go ahead and for one model year, put the 6.4 back in the Chrysler 300C. And a lot of people are pretty excited about that. Of course, there's only like 2,000 units going to be made of this car, but this particular one, the very first year of the 6.4 liter V8 is just an awesome car, a really nicely spec'd and trimmed out car. And now we get the added bonus of having the Hennessey HPE 650 package on it with that Maggie sitting right in front of us. And I tell you what, I think this thing's going to be a lot of fun to drive. So I really have to believe this would have been the very closest thing you could get to actually having a Hellcat version of the Chrysler 300. So let's see. This car really does have the same feel as a Charger when you drive it. The steering might be slightly lighter on this one than the Charger. You know, from a amenities perspective, maybe it is slightly better equipped than a Charger, but I mean, from a driving perspective, it feels really similar. What I will say is this particular version, the Hennessey version of this, makes like 180 more horsepower to the tire than even the SRT8, the regular SRT8 version of this. And it is noticeable. I mean, I love a supercharger. You can hear that Maggie in there whining, and just at a little blip, It really comes on. And you wouldn't expect this thing to have the kind of power that it does, and it makes for a pretty enjoyable driving experience. I mean, I'm just rolling around through back roads right now, and just at the blip of a throttle, this big old grandpa looking sedan, if you will, it really gets down. I'm really enjoying it. Now this thing almost feels like a big body Benz or something like that when you're cruising in it, because it just absorbs all the bumps, all that kind of stuff, and it's just such a smooth ride. And you get a little straightaway like this, and you really know what this car is all about. Listen to it. Oh, here it goes. Yes, and it is still kind of understated. As fast as it is, it doesn't have crazy noise coming out of the back of it. I mean, there's some noise, but the exhaust on this is pretty understated. And like I said, there's not a ton of crazy cues on the outside of this car to let you know that it's packing 650 horsepower. It's pretty impressive. So is this as fast as a Hellcat? I know some of you guys are probably thinking, well, is it as fast as a Hellcat? How does it compare? The answer is no. It is not as fast as a Hellcat. Yeah, it's still got a 2.3 liter blower under the hood, but it doesn't make quite as much power because it just doesn't make quite as much boost. We all know on the 6.4s, these engines weren't really engineered for boost like the Hellcat engines were. And so while that in stock form, a Hellcat, 11.5 pounds about at sea level, and we're making maybe 7.5 to 8 on this particular trim. So we can't really turn it up much past that. These engines just don't really like that, but it feels plenty adequate and plenty fast. And boy, I mean, it really does kind of surprise you a little bit coming out of this sedan, being able to accelerate like that. This really is one of those cars that you could just go get in, go drive it, 2,000 miles to California or wherever else, have a road trip out of it, enjoy it, and every once in a while when you really want to, go ahead and just nail it and feel the power that the thing possesses. I mean, it really is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type car. A very comfortable driving car. I'm trying to find some things I really don't like about the car, and that's one of the things I'm trying to focus on is like, what would I not like about something like this? And I guess my biggest takeaway would be maybe it's almost too buttoned down. I mean, for somebody like me, I kind of want something that's going to just like snarl and crackle and be a little bit obnoxious. This thing feels extremely buttoned down for what it is, a car that makes 650 horsepower, because you would just never know, driving it in traffic and doing all the things you would do on a daily basis, you just don't feel it until you really start getting into the pedal on it and it tries to suck your eyeballs to the back of your head. But I kind of wish maybe it was almost a little bit louder, but maybe that's really not what the spirit of the Chrysler 300 is, and so it's kind of a give and take. This really does make me wish that Dodge had stuffed a Hellcat in the 300, if not just for 1 year. Let's do a Durango Hellcat type thing, right? I mean, it does seem a little bit weird that they would put a Hellcat in a Durango, which is just an absolute wild machine, and but they never put one in the 300. It's a little bit of a bummer. Of course, even in a Ram, we got the TRX, which I absolutely love, by the way, and but the 300 got no love. So I don't know if Chrysler is just kind of like that brand that never gets the love. I don't know what the deal is. Wish they'd have made at least a few factory Hellcat Chrysler 300s, because this car is great. I'm enjoying it. I guess I'll go give this thing back to the guys at Streetside Classics. I've been cruising in it for a little while now, really enjoying it. It is for sale, by the way, so if you guys really like this car, give them a shout because they're awesome to deal with. And that is about it for my review of the 2012 Chrysler 300 SRT8 with the Hennessey HPE 650 package on it. I really do enjoy this car. I really wish that Dodge had made something similar to this right out of the factory. We know they didn't put the Hellcat in this car because of just, they didn't think that it was worth putting those engines in these when they were putting them in the Chargers and Challengers and essentially all that other stuff. But I kind of wish they would have, and this really is a clue to what that car would have been like. A ton of fun. What do you guys think about this particular package on the Chrysler 300? Do you think Dodge missed the ball on it? I'd love to hear it in the comments down below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.